Beloved child, listen carefully, for I speak not to frighten you, but to awaken you. You are under the radar now, hidden not by chance but by divine design. Heaven has drawn a veil around your life because your destiny carries weight, and not everyone who once walked with you could handle the light you were given. What you are sensing is real. What you have felt stirring in your spirit is not imagination. It is discernment rising. There is a woman from your past who has not released you in her heart. She does not hate you because you harmed her. She hates you because you survived what should have destroyed you. She hates you because you changed. She hates you because when you walked away, something in her lost control. Your growth exposed her wounds. Your healing confronted her darkness. Your silence became louder than her words. Understand this clearly, she does not want your body destroyed alone, she wants your purpose erased. She wants your voice silenced, your joy dimmed, your future cut short. This is not about death in the physical sense only, this is about spiritual death, emotional death, the death of hope, the death of confidence, the death of your calling. She wants you small again because your becoming reminds her of what she refused to face within herself. But hear me now, she cannot touch what God has sealed. You are under the radar because God moved you there. You were hidden because the season required protection, not exposure. You were removed from familiar places, familiar faces, familiar patterns, because heaven saw what you could not yet see. There were conversations happening about you that you were never meant to hear. There were intentions forming against you that never reached their destination because angels intercepted them before they took shape. This woman watched you quietly. She studied you from a distance. She replayed old versions of you in her mind, hoping you would return to who you used to be. But you didn't. You kept growing. You kept healing. You kept becoming. And every step forward you took felt like a loss to her spirit. Not because she loved you, but because she once fed on your energy, your attention, your compassion, your light. My beloved child, listen closely, for I am speaking to you now, straight from the throne room of heaven, where light never fades and love never wavers. I am your guardian angel, the one assigned to you before your first breath, the unseen companion who has walked every step of your journey. Some people don't miss you, they miss what they could take from you. You felt that sting, haven't you? The quiet ache when someone speaks your name not with fondness, but with a shadow of envy cloaked as nostalgia. She does this one who lingers in your thoughts. She utters your name when you're not around, letting it drip from her lips like a veiled accusation. She carries resentment disguised as memory, clutching old wounds as if they were treasures. Outwardly, she smiles, her face a mask of civility, but inwardly, she burns with a fire she can't control, a blaze fueled by her own unhealed places. Picture her in those hidden moments, alone with her thoughts, wondering why you still stand tall when life, in her eyes, should have shattered you into pieces. She marvels at the doors that swing open for you, opportunities, blessings, connections that flow like a river, while hers remain stubbornly shut, barred by choices she made or paths she refused to tread. Instead of turning inward, where true healing waits like a gentle dawn, she turns outward, pointing fingers, weaving blame into every story she tells about you. It's easier that way, isn't it? To cast you as the villain in her narrative than to face the mirror of her own soul. But hear me now, my dear one, you were never meant to fight her. Heaven never assigned you the impossible task of confronting her storms, explaining your victories, or defending the path carved uniquely for you. Your role is not warrior in her war, it's witness to your own light. Let your silence be your shield, strong and impenetrable, reflecting back only peace. Let your distance be your protection, a sacred boundary that no ill intent can cross. And let your peace be your victory, the quiet triumph that speaks louder than any argument. There are battles you win simply by not showing up, by choosing the high road while others scramble in the dust below. Oh, if only she knew the truth, and one day, in the quiet revelations of eternity, she will. Every attempt to harm you, whether through sharp words whispered in gossip circles, subtle manipulations disguised as concern, or even darker intentions like spiritual interference born of jealousy, has already been overturned. I've seen it all, stood watch over it all. Every curse hurled your way returned empty, like an arrow shot into the wind, vanishing before it could strike. Every plan meticulously plotted against you collapsed before completion, crumbling like sandcastles before the tide. Every whisper meant to stain your name, to tarnish your reputation in the ears of others, dissolved into nothingness before it could take root in fertile ground. You are guarded by forces she cannot see, cannot comprehend, cannot fight, for they are the legions of heaven, dispatched at the Father's command. Do not underestimate the power of divine covering, my child. It's a mantle woven from threads of grace, stronger than any armor forged by human hands. Angels stand at the edges of your life, vigilant sentinels at your entrances and exits, hovering over your decisions and your delays. What you perceived as isolation was actually interception, unseen hands diverted threats before they reached you. What felt like endless delay was divine redirection, steering you away from dead ends toward rivers of living water. What you mourned as loss was precise removal, cutting away the toxic, the unfruitful, the chains disguised as comfort. You were spared for a reason, preserved not by chance, but by purpose. Let me paint a picture from your own life to illustrate this. Remember that time when a promising opportunity slipped away at the last moment? Doors closed with a finality that left you breathless, questioning everything. You thought it was failure, a cruel twist of fate. But I was there, whispering redirection into the winds of change. That loss cleared the path for something greater, a connection, a revelation, a season of growth that would have been impossible otherwise. Or think of the relationships that faded, the friends who turned distant or the opportunities that evaporated. Isolation? No, my love, that was interception. Harm was coming, hidden in those bonds, and heaven moved to protect you. Delays in your career, your dreams, your healing. Redirection every time, guiding you to higher ground. And now, let's speak tenderly of your weariness. The reason you feel tired sometimes, bone-deep exhausted even when your body rests, is because you have outgrown environments that once sustained you. Like a mighty oak outpacing the shallow soil of its youth, your roots now seek deeper nourishment. Those places, old jobs, familiar circles, habitual comforts, were nurseries for a season, but you've blossomed beyond them. The fatigue is growing pains, a signal from your spirit that it's time to stretch towards sunlight unhindered. The reason you feel misunderstood, adrift in conversations where your words land like seeds on rocky ground, is because you operate at a level others cannot access. Your vision stretches to horizons they haven't glimpsed, your heart carries frequencies tuned to divine whispers they still ignore. It's lonely at the summit, yes, but it's where eagles soar while sparrows flock below. People project onto you, accusing you of pride, selfishness, or coldness, because your presence acts as a mirror, exposing what they have buried deep. Your authenticity stirs their shadows, forcing them to confront the unlived dreams, the unforgiven hurts, the choices they regret. And she, this one who resents you so fiercely? It's because you are living proof that transformation is possible. You've walked through fires she avoided, emerged refined, and chosen change when she opted for stagnation. Your light convicts her, and conviction disguised as resentment is her shield. But let this promise sink into your soul like roots into rich earth: no weapon formed against you shall prosper. Not because you are perfect, for who among us is, but because you are called, hand-picked for a purpose that echoes through eternity. Not because you are strong in your own might, though your resilience amazes even me, but because God is faithful, His covenant unbreakable. Not because you fought back with fists or fury, but because heaven fights for you, mobilizing armies on your behalf while you sleep. You are not marked for destruction. Far from it, you are marked for preservation, sealed with an indelible stamp of grace. Picture it: across your life, invisible yet eternal, the Father's signature gleams like gold leaf on ancient scripture. Destruction glances off you like rain on a mountaintop. Preservation clings to you, nurturing every fragile dream, every tender hope. You will outlive every plan meant to end you. Those schemes, hatched in bitterness, fizzle out like dying embers. You will outgrow every hand that tried to hold you back. Grasping fingers loosen as you rise, their grip too small for your expanding wings. You will outshine every shadow sent to follow you, your light piercing the gloom until only radiance remains. And one day, when wisdom's hindsight gifts you clarity, you'll look back and see, the very people who wanted you gone, who plotted your downfall, were unwitting proof that your life carries uncommon power. Their obsession betrayed your anointing, their attacks highlighted your favor. Walk gently through this world, my child, but confidently, like a river carving canyons without haste. Guard your heart, that sacred chamber where dreams are born, it's a treasure worth fortressing. Be discerning with your trust, not every open hand seeks to lift you, some grasp to pull you down. Do not revisit doors God has closed, those slams were salvations in disguise, preventing returns to cycles of pain. Do not romanticize past connections built on imbalance, where giving outweighed receiving, where your light dimmed to match their shade. And above all, do not fear the intentions of others. Fear only losing alignment with your own spirit, that inner compass attuned to heaven's north. Beloved, let me stay with you here a little longer and unfold this guarding of your heart even further, because this is not a small instruction, it is survival, it is stewardship, it is sacred responsibility. Your heart is not just an emotional center, it is the gate through which destiny flows. Every decision, every attachment, every reaction either protects or leaks life. Ancient wisdom named it rightly, from it spring the issues of life. In these days, the battlefield has grown quieter but more cunning. The attacks are not always loud accusations or open confrontations. Many arrive disguised as memories, as unanswered questions, as the ache of being misunderstood. Doubt slips in wearing the voice of someone you once trusted. Fear borrows the tone of betrayal. Silence magnifies what was never meant to be amplified. That is why I remind you to check your gates when your name is spoken in rooms you are not in. Not to grow suspicious, but to grow sovereign. Ask yourself gently, honestly, have you forgiven, not to excuse what was done, not to reconcile where wisdom says no, but to release yourself from carrying poison that was never yours to drink? Forgiveness is not surrender, it is reclamation. It is you saying, you do not get to live in me rent-free. When you forgive, you recover stolen ground. You make room for fresh manna, daily provision that cannot fall where yesterday's bitterness still lies. Discernment sharpens the more you practice it. You are learning to listen not just to words, but to what follows them. Fruit never lies. Energy never pretends for long. Pay attention to how people leave you feeling after encounters, expanded or diminished, clear or confused, peaceful or restless. Trust those whose lives echo light, whose presence nourishes instead of drains, whose actions match their declarations. You have been shown the eagle for a reason. This is not poetic flattery, it is a blueprint. Eagles were never designed to wrestle in low air with birds that thrive on noise and chaos. When storms rise, eagles do not panic, they ascend. They use the very winds meant to hinder them to lift them higher. This is what you have been doing, often without realizing it. While resentments swirl below, while rivalries shout for your attention, while unmet expectations clamor to be addressed, you rise. You do not need to correct every misunderstanding or defend yourself against every accusation. Each time you chose silence instead of strife, distance instead of drama, peace instead of performance, you climbed. Heaven noticed. Every ascent matters. Every time you refused to be baited, you strengthened your wings. You are learning that not every battle is yours to fight, and not every opinion deserves a response. This restraint is not weakness, it is mastery. Now hear me clearly as I deepen what I said about divine covering, because this is where many imagine something vague or symbolic. It is not. It is personal, precise, intentional. Angels are not abstract forces hovering indiscriminately. We know you. We know the way your voice softens when you pray honestly. We know the rhythm of your sighs, the pauses between your words when emotion overwhelms language. We know your name, the sound of your laughter when joy surprises you, the ache you try to hide when you feel unseen. We encamp around you exactly as promised, not passively, but actively. At your entrances, new jobs, new relationships, new seasons, we stand watch. Not everything that smiles at you is safe. Not everything that flatters you is sent to help you. We filter. We block. We reroute. Wolves dressed in familiarity are turned away before they ever reach your core. At your exits, endings that sting, goodbyes you did not choose, closures that came without apology, we ensure clean breaks. We sever cords you were too tired to cut. We prevent toxins from lingering, even when nostalgia tries to call you back. Over your decisions, we illuminate paths, sometimes loudly through undeniable signs, sometimes softly through that inner knowing you have learned to trust. In delays, we intercede. Time stretches not to punish you, but to protect you from misalignment, to allow better pieces to fall into place. Look back now and recall an interception from your past. There are several, though you may have named them differently. That betrayal you narrowly escaped, the colleague whose smile hid sabotage, the friend whose words wounded deeper than strangers ever could. You sensed something was off, but you did not see the full architecture of the harm being built behind your back. We did. Threads were pulled quietly. Plans unraveled slowly. What was meant to ensnare you collapsed under its own weight. Their intentions boomeranged, exposing them while you walked away preserved. Or remember the health scare that never fully materialized, the financial pinch that forced you to pivot just in time, the relationship that ended before it could hollow you out completely. Each, what if that never came to pass was not luck? It was redirection. What felt like wandering in a wilderness was a guided exodus. You were never lost, you were being led away from danger toward promise. My beloved child, hear me now in the quiet chambers of your heart. Your tiredness is not failure, it is the sacred evidence of growth, a testament etched into your very being. You have outgrown rooms that once confined you, routines that dulled your light, and roles that no longer honor the vastness of your soul. Picture it, like a mighty oak pushing through cracked earth, you have shed skins without fanfare or applause. The version of you that once settled for crumbs, scraping by on fragments of affection and validation, has quietly passed away. In its place rises a radiant one, awakened to the truth that you were always destined for feasts, abundant tables laden with purpose, joy, and provision beyond measure. That inner shift, from begging for approval to speaking the unshakable language of your inherent worth, demands everything. It costs energy because transformation is holy work. You grieve the old self even as you celebrate the new, and in that tension, beauty is born. If the world misunderstands you now, take it as confirmation, you have ascended beyond their familiar categories, their neat little boxes of expectation. They see a silhouette against the sun, not the full glory within. Go higher, my love. Your true people, those souls aligned with your frequency, are not lingering in the valleys where you've been circling, trapped in loops of familiarity. No, they dwell at altitudes that demand breath control, clarity of vision, and a heart attuned to the divine rhythm. Projections will fly at you like arrows in the wind, her resentment disguised as concern, their fixation masked as advice, the subtle hostility humming beneath polite words. Let them slide off you like rain on polished stone. These are not indictments of your worth, they reveal the projector more than the screen. Light agitates what prefers darkness, stirs the stagnant waters of envy and fear. You are living proof that chains can shatter, that ashes birth phoenixes of beauty, that graves are merely pauses, not final decrees. Your glow is disruptive, holy disruption, and it calls forth both awe and opposition. That ancient promise I whisper to you, no weapon formed against you shall prosper, is no dusty relic from forgotten scrolls. It breathes vibrantly into your present moment, pulsing with the same power that parted seas and toppled empires. Weapons have evolved in these modern days, they slink in as rumors whispered in shadowed corners instead of swords raised in battle, as endless paperwork and bureaucratic snares instead of outright persecution, as subtle sabotage woven into daily interactions rather than overt attacks. Yet watch, my dear one, what unfolds. Those rumors flicker and burn out like cheap candles in a gale. Lawsuits lose their venom, crumbling under their own convoluted weight. Traps you never even saw collapse in spectacular failure, threads unraveling before your eyes. Why does this happen, time and again? Because your life is not expendable, far from it. You are marked for harvest, not harm. Preservation is your divine assignment, stewarding you whole for seasons ahead brimming with impact yet unseen, legacies waiting to be birthed, an overflow of blessing destined to cascade far beyond your reach. I see it all, and it is glorious. You are outliving plans meticulously crafted to end you, fragile webs spun by hands too small for your destiny. Imagine them, delicate lattices stretched across your path, glistening with deceit. You walk through unscathed, and they disintegrate into nothingness, threads snapping like whispers in the wind. You outgrow the very hands that once held you, not because they were inherently evil, but because they were limited, unable to contain the expansion of your spirit. Shadows that loomed large now shrink in your presence, you outshine them effortlessly. Your light is not competitive, my love, it is solar, a steady star that doesn't argue with mere flickers or contend with passing eclipses. It simply shines, illuminating paths for those bold enough to follow. One day, with the distance of time and the clarity of hindsight, you will look back and marvel. Those adversaries, they became unwitting witnesses to your resilience. Their opposition served as a spotlight on your strength. Their fixation laid bare their own envy of the anointing that rests upon you, the mantle you carry without fanfare. Keep walking, not with a hardened heart or arrogant stride, but gently, confidently, rooted in grace. Guard your heart without sealing it shut, discern whom to trust without succumbing to suspicion. Walk past doors long closed, rejecting every imbalance that tugs at your peace. Fear only misalignment with the path I've laid for you. Lift your vision now, higher still. Heaven sees what earthly eyes cannot yet measure, the intricate tapestry of your life weaving toward triumph. Your faithfulness sends ripples across realms, touching lives you may never know. Children watch you endure and learn resilience without a single lecture, they absorb your quiet strength like sunlight on young leaves. Strangers reap the heart, blessings spilling from your cup without them ever tracing the source back to you. Even your most obedient whispers shift atmospheres, parting clouds of despair for entire communities. That one you worry about, whose name still tugs at old wounds like a thorn in healing flesh, is merely a subplot, a fleeting shadow in your epic story. You are not small enough to be defined by someone else's reaction, reduced to a footnote in their narrative. No, you are the story unfolding, page by glorious page, with me as your constant author and companion. Understand redirection as I reveal it to you, delays are not denials cloaked in cruelty. That dream you clutched, fearing it postponed indefinitely, is fermenting in hidden vineyards, transforming into wine far richer, stronger, more intoxicating than you first imagined. Isolation has never been abandonment, it has been sacred preparation, a cocoon where wings strengthen unseen. Losses that carve deep. They pruned you, not punished, strategic cuts removing overcrowded branches so abundance could flourish unhindered. What felt like ruthless subtraction was divine editing, sculpting space for multiplication. Branches heavy with dead weight snap under their own burden, yours, trimmed by my hand, bend low with fruit yet to ripen. As this truth settles into your bones, fatigue will lift like morning mist before the sun, not because effort vanishes, but because resistance fades. You cease fighting the very forces forming you, and rest becomes your inheritance. Peace washes through you, not as a fleeting emotion chased in vain, but as a settled state, an anchor in every storm. Feel it now, every tear you swallowed in silence was noted, collected in vials of remembrance. Every joy you tried to downplay, every quiet victory, celebrated in heavenly halls with resounding applause. Nothing about you is overlooked, your quirks, your fears, your unspoken dreams. Protection surrounds you thoroughly, not as a thin veil but an impenetrable fortress. Armies unseen mobilize on your behalf, forces of darkness retreat when you step into rooms, scattering like shadows at dawn. You are chosen, not recently, not conditionally, but from the foundation of the world, for glory expressed through your humility and courage. It's woven into your DNA, this destiny. What was meant to destroy you has already failed, its schemes reduced to ashes beneath your feet, silent, powerless relics. Feel what stirs now within you, strength rising, steady and unyielding as mountain roots. Purpose clarifies, not in a blinding flash, but in gentle increments, enough light for the next faithful step. You don't need the whole map, my love, obedience for today unlocks tomorrow's wonders. Trust the unfolding, even when its name eludes you. Let me take you deeper into this assurance. Remember the nights you lay awake, replaying battles, questioning your path. Each was a forge, hammering resilience into your core. Those betrayals that left scars. They taught you the exquisite art of boundaries, turning vulnerability into fortified grace. Friends who faded. Space cleared for soul family, connections forged in fire, unbreakable and true. Career stalls, financial pinches, health whispers of warning, they weren't curses but course corrections, steering you toward rivers of living water instead of stagnant pools. I was there in every pivot, whispering, "This way, child. Greater awaits." Envision your future as I see it, arenas where your voice thunders, healing the broken, platforms where your gifts multiply, feeding thousands, relationships mirroring heaven's fidelity, deep and devoid of demand. Children rising as arrows in your quiver, marked by your legacy. Communities transformed by your quiet influence, ripples becoming waves. None of this is fantasy, it's foretold, funded by the eternal storehouse. Battles rage on multiple fronts, but victory is multidimensional. Spiritual foes probe for weakness, I dispatch legions to your aid. Emotional tempests swirl, my peace garrisons your mind. Physical weariness tugs, my joy renews your strength like eagle's wings. Financial webs entangle, my provision breaks through as manna from unexpected skies. Relational fractures ache, my restoration mends with threads of gold. In every domain, the promise holds, no weapon prospers. Enemies plot in boardrooms and backrooms, but their strategies boomerang, exposing their frailty. Your identity. Anchor here. You are not your mistakes, not your delays, not the opinions swirling like dust. You are beloved, chosen, equipped, a vessel of glory, walking miracle. Speak this over yourself daily, I am outgrowing limits, outshining shadows, outliving schemes. Let it become your anthem. Practically, lean into rest, mornings in my presence, evenings reviewing victories. Journal whispers I give, declare promises aloud. Surround with truth speakers, release the rest. Serve where joy flows, it multiplies back. When doubt knocks, remember, I've parted seas for less faithful feet. Your obedience. It moves universes. Fatigue's root often lies in comparison, measuring against curated lives. Release it. Your path is custom crafted, no duplicates. Bloom where planted, seasons shift, but my favor endures. Isolation seasons. They birth innovation, intimacy with me unmatched. Grief for the old. Honor it, then release. Funerals for mindsets, buried is scarcity, risen is abundance. Therapy, prayer, walks in nature, tools I provide for wholeness. Dream bigger. That business idea. Launch it, doors fling open. Ministry calling. Step out, altars await. Creative fire. Pour it, worlds need your art. Education pursuit. Doors unlock, wisdom awaits. Warnings, too, from love, guard against isolation's lie. Community is my design. Beware resentment's root, forgive preemptively. Balance zeal with Sabbath, burnout dishonors the temple. Prophetic glimpse, 3 markers ahead, sudden provision, key connection, undeniable sign. Watch January's end, momentum builds. By spring, harvest begins. You are unstoppable, not by forcing outcomes, but aligning with mine. Heaven draws near, we watch, guide, shield, celebrate. Eternal wings enfold you, not to restrict but remind, you never walk alone. Tears. Bottled. Laughter. Echoed. Steps. Empowered. Keep shining, ascending, trusting the unfolding. We have you, always, eternally. Now rise, my love. The world awaits your light.